Yersinia pestis. This is the bacterium behind the Black Death. It still exists. Right now, today, in wild rodent populations across Central Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the American Southwest. It is not gone. It is waiting. Yersinia pestis is roughly the size of a single grain of salt, invisible to the naked eye, smaller than anything you would think of as dangerous. Its color under a microscope is a deep violet-blue stain, shaped like a tiny safety pin. The real power is its ability to shut down your immune system before your body even knows it's been invaded. It hijacks your own white blood cells and hides inside them like a spy in a uniform. For humans today, caught early, it responds to basic antibiotics, kind of like treating a severe flu. But left untreated? It enters the bloodstream, reaches the lungs, and turns contagious through the air alone. Its hunting method is elegant and terrifying. It travels from flea to rat to human in a chain of bites, each host completely unaware it is acting as a delivery vehicle. The weird part? In 1347, it killed 1 in every 3 people alive on Earth in under a decade. Not 1 in 100. 1 in 3. What comes next did its damage not in years but in hours. Vibrio Cholerae. This one lives in water. Specifically, in the kind of water that billions of people around the world still depend on every single day. It has triggered 7 separate global pandemics. 7. The bacterium itself is comma-shaped and roughly the size of a single red blood cell, something you could fit thousands of across the width of a human hair. Under a microscope it looks almost elegant, curling gently, moving with a single whip-like tail. The real power is speed. Vibrio Cholerae produces a toxin that forces your intestinal cells to pump water outward, not inward, at a rate your body physically cannot compensate for. For most healthy adults in developed countries with clean water access, oral rehydration therapy keeps it manageable. Uncomfortable. Frightening. But survivable. For a malnourished child in a flood zone? It can kill in 4 hours. 4 hours from first symptom to death. It does not hunt, it drifts. It contaminates water supplies silently and then waits for humans to drink. One infected person's waste can contaminate the water source of an entire village overnight. The unexpected part. Vibrio Cholerae is not even always deadly on its own. It needs the perfect conditions, poverty, flooding, crowd, and no clean water, to become a mass killer. It has never once acted alone. What follows it in history has done its work in a completely different way, slowly, silently, over years. Mycobacterium tuberculosis. You have almost certainly met someone who carries this bacterium right now and does not know it. 1/4 of all humans alive today are estimated to carry TB in its dormant form. The bacterium itself is rod-shaped, roughly the size of a short grain of rice at microscopic scale, and covered in a thick waxy coat that makes it almost impossible for your immune system to destroy. The real power is patience. Mycobacterium tuberculosis can sit dormant inside your lung tissue for decades, walled off by your immune system but never killed, waiting for the moment your defenses weaken. It has killed more humans than any other bacterial pathogen in recorded history. More than plague. More than cholera. More than war. For most people today with access to treatment, a 6 to 9 month course of antibiotics can clear it. Manageable, but grueling. For the lungs it attacks without intervention, it hollows them out slowly, tissue by tissue, until breathing becomes impossible. It spreads through the air. A single cough. A crowded room. A shared breath. The strange part. It was once considered a romantic disease in the 19th century. Pale skin, sensitivity, artistic genius, all symptoms of TB. Poets wrote about it. Painters romanticized it. Meanwhile it was killing 1 in 7 people in Europe. What comes next doesn't need to infect you to kill you, it just needs you to eat. Clostridium Botulinum. This organism produces the most acutely lethal toxin ever measured in scientific history. Not the most deadly bacterium overall. But gram for gram, nothing that has ever existed produces a more potent poison. It lives in soil, in river sediment, in the gut of fish, found on every continent on Earth including Antarctica. The bacterium itself is unremarkable looking. Rod-shaped. Roughly the size of a small grain of pollen. The real power is what it releases, a neurotoxin so precisely engineered by evolution that a quantity smaller than a grain of table salt could theoretically kill over 1 million people. For humans who encounter it through improperly preserved food, early symptoms feel almost like a bad cold: blurred vision, dry mouth. Then the paralysis begins. Descending. Controlled. Methodical. Eyelids first, then throat, then lungs. Because of modern intensive care, most people survive today. Without a ventilator, the lungs simply stop. It does not hunt. It does not chase. It simply waits inside an improperly sealed jar, a smoked fish, a home-preserved vegetable, and trusts that you will come to it. The completely unexpected twist: this exact same toxin, in medically controlled, infinitesimally tiny doses, is injected into millions of people every year for cosmetic procedures. You know it as Botox. The deadliest substance in history. In your face. For wrinkles. Before we go further, here is your challenge. Somewhere in the second half of this video, I am hiding a secret question. The answer will only make sense if you watched every single segment from the beginning. Drop your answer in the comments below. The first person to get it right gets featured at the start of the next video. Treponema pallidum. This is the bacterium behind syphilis, and for most of human history, nobody knew what it was or where it came from. It arrived in Europe in the 1490s. And within 5 years had swept across the entire continent, killing tens of thousands, disfiguring hundreds of thousands more. The bacterium is corkscrew-shaped, one of the smallest bacteria ever discovered, roughly 1/10 the width of a human hair. Under a dark field microscope it rotates slowly like a tiny drill. The real power is disguise. Treponema pallidum progresses in stages, each with completely different symptoms, across years or even decades. It mimics other diseases so effectively that 19th century doctors called syphilis the great imitator, because it looked like almost everything else. For humans today, a single course of penicillin eliminates it completely. But untreated, the third stage attacks the brain, the heart, the aorta, the nervous system. It can take 10 to 30 years, and then it destroys everything at once. It spreads through direct contact alone. No water, no air, no insects. Just proximity. The strange historical detail: it is believed to have altered the course of European history directly. Multiple kings, military commanders, and political leaders are now suspected to have made catastrophic decisions while in late-stage neurosyphilis. History rewritten by a bacterium you can barely see. What follows: it didn't change history through politics, it changed it through agriculture and armies. Bacillus anthracis. Most people associate anthrax with bioterrorism letters and news headlines, but this bacterium has been quietly shaping human and animal history for thousands of years before anyone weaponized it. It lives in soil as a spore, a kind of biological dormancy capsule roughly the size of a small dust particle, and it can survive in that state for over a century. Dormant anthrax spores from outbreaks in the 1800s have been reactivated by flooding and melting permafrost in Russia, killing reindeer herds in 2016. The real power is the spore itself. It is engineered by evolution to withstand almost everything. Boiling, drying, UV radiation, chemical disinfectants. For humans who inhale concentrated spores without treatment, inhalation anthrax has a fatality rate above 80%. Cutaneous anthrax, from skin contact, is rarely fatal with antibiotics. Feels like an unusual skin ulcer with a dark center. For the lungs, untreated, it produces toxins that cause fluid to flood the chest cavity within days. It does not spread person to person. It waits in the earth. Floods, digging, and disturbed soil bring it back to the surface, where it meets a grazing animal, a farmer, or a laborer. The genuinely unsettling fact: Groenland Island off Scotland was deliberately infected with anthrax spores by the British government in 1942 weapons tests. It remained a legally quarantined no-entry zone for over 40 years. The spores simply waited. What comes next required no weapons program, it used trade routes, armies, and dirty water, and it shaped the fall of empires. Salmonella typhi. This is not the salmonella from undercooked chicken. That is a different species entirely. Salmonella typhi is the cause of typhoid fever, and it has brought down armies, collapsed sieges, and killed more soldiers in war than actual combat across multiple centuries. The bacterium is rod-shaped, roughly the size of a short pencil tip at microscopic scale, and moves using a cluster of tail-like flagella that spin it forward like a tiny biological propeller. The real power is its ability to survive inside the very immune cells sent to destroy it. Hiding in macrophages and traveling through your lymph system like a passenger using your body's own highway. For most healthy adults today with antibiotic access, typhoid is serious but treatable: high fever, headache, stomach pain lasting 1 to 4 weeks. Without treatment, intestinal perforation, internal bleeding, and sepsis follow, with fatality rates above 10 to 20% in historical populations. It spreads through contaminated food and water. Almost always linked to a carrier who handles food while infected. The infamous typhoid Mary Mallon, was a healthy carrier who infected over 50 people as a cook in New York in the early 1900s, never once feeling sick herself. The final creature in this expedition doesn't use food or water to find you. It uses air. And it moves faster than almost anything else on this list. Neisseria meningitidis. This is the one that medical professionals quietly fear most. Not because it's the deadliest historically, but because of how fast it moves. It spreads through the air, through saliva, through close contact, and it is most comfortable in the throats of healthy young people who are carrying it completely unaware. Up to 10% of people are asymptomatic carriers at any given time. The bacterium is perfectly round, appearing in pairs under a microscope, called a diplococcus, roughly the size of a small virus at the very lower limit of bacterial scale. The real power is velocity. Bacterial meningitis caused by this organism can progress from first headache to life-threatening septicemia in under 24 hours. Sometimes in 12. For those who receive antibiotics within the first hours of symptoms, survival rates are high and outcomes can be excellent. Every hour of delay changes that equation dramatically. Untreated, it triggers meningococcal septicemia. A condition where bacteria release toxins that cause blood vessels throughout the body to leak, leading to tissue damage visible as a distinctive rash that does not fade when pressed under a glass. It thrives in close quarters, dormitories, military barracks, schools. The completely unexpected fact: there are people alive right now, perfectly healthy, walking through crowds, who carry this bacterium in their throats and will never once be affected by it. While someone nearby could encounter the same bacteria and be in intensive care within a day. Same bacterium. Completely different outcomes. Science still does not fully understand why. We have reached the end of our expedition through the bacteria that changed human history. Now, the secret question. This one only works if you watched every segment carefully. Which bacterium on this list is the only one that can survive in a sealed environment for over 100 years and has been reactivated by climate change, specifically melting permafrost? Leave your answer in the comments. The first correct answer wins a feature in the next video. Thank you for exploring with me. Stay curious, and watch where you step.